Welcome to the Big Success Show. Today, are entrepreneurs control freaks? Brought to you by FinancialFreedomTool.com. Plenty of money for life.
Big Success with the Professor and Mary-Lynn.
Control freaks, eh, Mary-Lynn? You know, I knew at some point you were going to get around to this topic. And here we are with you staring right at me. What's up with that?
It was bound to happen sometime.
Exactly. Well, there you go. Well, it is National Entrepreneurs Day.
Wow, what a great day. Celebrating some great people. And as entrepreneurs ourselves, with entrepreneurs as customers, every day really is Entrepreneurs Day for us.
But I have to say, it's still really cool to take a day to celebrate the hardest working people serving people in the world.
Absolutely.
Entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm George Kruger, a.k.a. The Professor.
And I'm Mary-Lynn. And today we want to talk about a critical part of the entrepreneurial mindset.
And here we go, Mary-Lynn. I'm going to give you a quiz.
Okay.
So it's only one
of course, the Professor. I'm ready.
It's
Pop
only
quiz. Oh, no.
It's only one question. It's
Okay.
open book, open note, by the way. You can use all the notes you want. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Here's the question. What motivates entrepreneurs to start a business?
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun.
Do you do that in your class?
Well,
that would be
I don't
awesome if
give
you
I don't
did.
give oral quizzes in class, Mary-Lynn. So.
All right. Bang. Oh, wait. That's wrong. Wait.
There you go.
Me. Oh, that's right. Harry. Beep. There's my buzzer.
Okay.
I got to get it right?
All right.
Okay. I am going to guess money. Money is what inspires people to start a business.
Well, I think you're in the crowd. I think that's what most people think. But according to a study put out earlier this year by Cox Business, only 8% of the entrepreneurs in their sample chose money as the number one reason they started a business.
Okay.
So,
what was the number one reason then?
I was hoping you would ask that question.
Yes.
So over half of the participants, over half said that it was to be their own boss. In other words, to be in control, to take control of their lives.
Well, that was going to be my next guess. So.
And yes, well, good for you, Mary-Lynn. You did very well on the quiz. Extra points. You get extra credit.
Thanks.
But here's the thing. You know, I think this actually, as we were talking about and preparing for this show, this really hits home to you.
Well, it resonates, and it really is the key reason why I went into entrepreneurship. Now, of course, I wanted to make money. You can't live if you don't make money, right?
It's a little
you
difficult.
Pay the bills.
Yes.
But control is really what made me launch into my own company because of the uncertainty of the radio industry that I was in. I wanted to be able to control my own destiny. I wanted to have control over the brand that I built. I wanted to have control over the content that I could talk about. I wanted to have control over whether I had to move or not. You know, in radio, they can change format. One day you're working for a talk station, the next day you're working for a sports station, and you're out of a job. You know?
One day you're the number one show in town, and the next week you don't have a show.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, it can happen in the snap of a finger. And it's amazing how the people that you work with, who you think you're closest to, can look you straight in the eye for like a month when all this is happening behind the scenes and not let on to you 1 minute. So anyway, that's beside the point, and that's like I need to go talk to a psychiatrist about those kinds of things. But pardon me. Well,
that was a good bench, Mary-Lynn.
But these are, you get the point that I wanted control, and when you work for a company, whether it's radio or something else, they have a place for you. You're a cog in the machine, and they decide how you're going to make that machine work. And I wanted to figure out how to be my own machine.
Yeah, and I think, Mary-Lynn, what the emotion you show as you describe that is completely fitting, I think, of where a lot of people get in life. Now, we always encourage people start part-time. Get fed up, but be smart about it. But, at some point, you just got to make a move, man. It's just the overwhelm or the what's the word I'm looking for? The disgruntledness.
Yes, the creative dissatisfaction. Maybe.
Yes,
or sometimes this feeling that look, I have more to offer, and my company isn't letting me rise to my full potential.
It's like being trapped in a room with the water increasing, right? Getting higher and higher and higher till it's up to your neck. And, it's like, I got to get out of here or I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And I think that's the feeling a lot of people get.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little extreme for me.
I'm trying to be extreme.
Okay. So I guess, does this mean that entrepreneurs are control freaks then? That we just have to have control? That we just, we no matter what, we feel like we're up against a wall and we have to figure out how we can turn the tables?
Well, I will tell you a quick little story of my own. When I was in my 20s, I looked at a real estate investment with my dad. Now, to do the deal, we needed to raise some outside capital. So in other words, we needed to raise some money before we could go to the bank and ask the bank for money. Okay, right. That's just the way the system works, so to speak. So we went to my dad's chiropractor. And he's a guy that my dad knew invested in real estate. And so we shared with him this property that we were looking at, kind of what we were thinking about doing with it. Had a great plan. And he didn't nix the plan, but he immediately started talking about an investment he was going to make. And he wasn't the least bit interested in our investment, but he was interested in having us go in with him on his investment. Well, here's what it came down to. And he finally just said it. He says, I don't invest in deals where I don't have control.
So you were asking him to be, what would that be, a minor?
Yeah, a minor investor. Mm-hmm. Yes. And he
in
wants,
your deal.
Yes.
And then he pitched you his deal where he would be the major investor.
Yes, and we would be the minor investor.
I got you.
Yes. And so he said the whole reason was he only did deals where he was in control. Now, was he a control freak?
Sounds like it.
It does sound like it, doesn't it? But I would say no. It's just that entrepreneurs, and since this is Entrepreneur Day, it just started us thinking like, okay, the mindset of an entrepreneur, one of the characteristics is that we want to be in control. And research shows that most people who get rich do it with assets they control. In other words, you can get wealthy investing in the stock market, but if you want to get really wealthy, like safely wealthy, like wealthy so you don't ever have to worry about money for the rest of your life, well, that probably means investing in real estate, in a franchise, in a business, something where you have control and you're not relying on third-party managers to do best with your money. The best person to have managing your money is a smart person with money, you.
I guess you kind of just answered the question, though, of why is control so important to entrepreneurs?
I have, but there's an extension that's really important here.
Okay.
Okay? And that is when you have control of a business or an investment, guess what? They can't fire you.
Not true, though. We've seen where CEOs of big companies have been fired.
CEOs, not the owners. The owners, the shareholders who've elected a board may push the CEO out.
Right.
But when you're the entrepreneur owner, you can't be fired. By the way, you can be fired. There's one person who can fire you. You.
Okay.
You can fire yourself. I've done it before. It's not very pretty. But you can fire yourself,
We're going to have to do a show on that.
Well, we might have to do several, Mary-Lynn. Yes, I may have to see a psychologist before that, though, too.
Okay.
So we're giving psychology people a lot of money today. But here's the thing. What I'm really talking about here, it's a legal thing. It's about entity selection. Whether you choose to operate as a sole proprietorship, a general partnership, a corporation, or some other form of organization. Now, that's the good side of control. You can't be fired. Here's the thing, though. You're fully responsible. Ooh, that sounds great to a lot of people.
There's no golden parachute for you?
Yeah, there's no golden parachute. That's exactly right. So, the most difficult decisions tend to flow up. And if you're that person on top of the pyramid, guess what? They're flowing to you. So you have to answer for everything that happens in your business.
So you're in control, but just be aware of the fact that it's very lonely up there.
It is very lonely with control. And so now also understand that when you're fully in control, and when I say fully, I mean you're in control. You can't be fully in control of everything that happens. We'll talk about that a little bit. But when you're in control, you get to make the decisions. But you have to live with the consequences. So there's kind of the two-sided coin. But you know what? That's exactly what a lot of people are looking for. I want to, I can't tell you how many people I've heard say, they've told us, coaching clients, people we know, students, I just want to know whether or not my ideas are any good or not. Right. I just need to try something to see, if what I have is any good.
I'd also be able to see, can I shift and make the changes that need to be made when I do make a mistake? And because that's part of life too, is learning how to make a decision, find out it's wrong, and then that's where we really see what your character is, because now what will you do?
Yeah.
Now what will you do?
Exactly. And also realizing that there's no 2 days ever exactly alike.
Right.
You're always dealing with new challenges, and that's tough.
Yeah.
But it's also invigorating, exhilarating.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
It's exciting. All right. So coming up, and the professor alluded to this just a little bit ago, while control is great and you do have a lot of control when you run your own show, well, you can't control everything as much as a control freak would like to. But there is one important thing that you can always control. And we'll tell you more about this right after this word from our sponsor, financialfreedomtool.com. Plenty of money for life.
Looking for money to start your business? The Financial Freedom Tool helps you uncover money hidden in your budget so you can start your business sooner than you think. Learn more at financialfreedomtool.com. That's financialfreedomtool.com.
It's National Entrepreneurs Day, and we're celebrating by talking about the entrepreneurial mindset and an entrepreneur's need for control. That's the number one reason why people tend to go into business. They want to be their own boss. They want to have control. Problem is, though, you can't control everything.
You can't control everything, and that drives control freaks absolutely mad. Okay?
Yes.
Now, I guess we haven't really said this yet, but just understand, there are some entrepreneurs who are control freaks, and they're kind of, like in any group of a lot of people, you're going to have a lot of different kinds of people, and a certain number in the case of entrepreneurs are going to be control freaks. But most entrepreneurs, while liking to have control and wanting to have control and even making sure that they have control of an investment or a piece of real estate or a business or whatever, they realize that they can't be in control all the time. But you have to make sure you don't fool yourself into thinking that you can, all right? Just because you go into business for yourself doesn't mean you're going to be able to control everything.
Oh, bummer.
Yes, I know.
Well, obviously, if anything, this year has shown us that. I mean, here we are in the middle of a pandemic, which only hits, once every 100 years so far. But, I mean, it's wiped out the plans of many business owners, and there's a lot of business owners who are hanging on. Bless their hearts, but there's so much that's been out of their control.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Mary-Lynn, you can't control everything, and that's a major league example of that.
Yeah.
But you can always control one thing.
Okay.
You can always control. So let me emphasize one more time. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. You are in full control of that, how you respond to it. And part of that response begins before the event ever even occurs. You're also in full control of how you plan for the foreseeable and for the unforeseeable. So in other words, we can make those plans, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a second. You need to be looking down the road ahead and trying to anticipate what could happen that could derail your plans.
Okay. So going along with what you're talking about here, how do you maintain control then? Because nobody predicted the pandemic or could have even thought it. And you're talking about planning, the controlling kind of how you will respond to the foreseeable future and things that you can't see coming. I guess I'm a little lost.
Well, here's the thing. It's all about planning and probabilities, okay? So you need to figure out a plan B. So what if blank happens, okay?
And make blank be like the worst possible thing.
Yes.
Basically.
Everything you can think of. Now, we would say pandemic.
Sure.
A year ago, I don't think anybody would have.
Suddenly the government tells you, you have to close.
Yes, a lockdown.
For an indefinite amount of time.
Who's ever heard of it? You know what I mean?
And then suddenly you can reopen, and then suddenly you have to close again.
Right.
It's just, oh my gosh, what a roller coaster.
So you've got to understand that, You don't necessarily spend a lot of time on these things. Now, notice I said plan for these things. I didn't say prepare. Okay? There's a difference. You prepare for success. That's where you put your focus. And if all goes well, you never have to worry about plan B, okay? Or C, or D, or E, right? But you have to understand that while you prepare for success, you're going to plan to fail from time to time. And so the way you plan to fail is to plan to be on the verge of failure or plan to face an event that could cause failure, but having prepared for it in advance so that you don't fail. You're ready for it. Doesn't mean you put all kinds of resources, all kinds of time, all kinds of money into that. You do the bare minimum, but you set yourself up so that you're ready should the event happen. You've at least thought it through. What would I do if the government shuts down my business?
And so by planning,
yes.
I should say, by planning for some kind of unforeseeable thing, then you are setting yourself up to be able to have a controlled response.
Yes.
When and if that should happen.
Yes, and you've got kind of a leg up, I guess, for lack of a better word. You're down the road a little ways because you've spent a little bit of time now thinking about what could happen in the future.
Okay.
And what you're doing is those events that are high probability, you're going to spend a little more time on those. Those that are low probability, you'll spend less time, but you'll still kind of think about it.
To kind of sum that up, the one thing that you control is?
The one thing you control is how you respond to an event. Okay, you can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond to it. You know, there are two things that are 100% certain. Death and taxes come to mind, right? I mean, that's the old saying.
True.
Ben Franklin, I think, said that. But here's something else to realize. Not ever trying is dangerous. So there's a scenario that some people come to. So now we're talking about your life, right? You're thinking about starting a business. Some people never ever try. Right. They've got a business idea, maybe a great business idea.
And some people shouldn't try.
That's probably true too, yes.
I mean, I wouldn't say if you've got a good paying job and you're doing well and you have a family to support, you probably shouldn't just like throw that all away and dive into something.
That's why we always say side, right? Start out with a side business, and when your income overwhelms your income from your job, now you've got some options, right? But not ever trying is dangerous too. You're putting your entire future at risk. You may never store up enough money, enough funds to be able to have a comfortable retirement. I'm not talking about living like a billionaire. I'm talking about a comfortable retirement when you're unable to work or don't want to work anymore. We need to understand that taking action doesn't necessarily mean that we're risk lovers. Doesn't mean that, because entrepreneurs are wanting to invest in businesses and investments that they control. What we're saying is that you need to take calculated risks. Don't be a risk lover. The entrepreneurs aren't as a whole risk lovers. They're calculated risk takers. And if you want that retirement to be more than just comfortable, you probably need to explore putting money in investments that you can control. That leads to big success.
And if you're ready to make a move towards having more control in your life, get our free guide, 10 Workarounds to Start Your Business Sooner. You'll find the link with your show notes in today's podcast episode.
And we thank you so much for listening today.
Until next time,
here's to your big success.
Find big success at biggsuccess.com.